Look, did we want to chat about kind of the research and I'll let you introduce it. You teased it a little bit, but I'll
Yeah.
let you kind of reintroduce it for people and imagine they know nothing about it.
Cool. So on the magic mushroom side, which is the way the layperson refers to, psilocybin, they call it a magic mushroom, which is fine. That's cool. On the magic mushroom side, we've been working with the University of Pretoria now for almost 2 years. And we had announced that very, very first announcement way back, well, almost 2 years ago, like I said. I think it was maybe 18, 19 months ago. So we're kind of proud of the fact that many people claim, they like to stake a claim saying they were first. I'm pretty sure we were first by quite a country mile. And we've been conducting our research and everything from, the test tube, which is where you started, into the animal and then into the human. And I'm trying to, like you said, do it in real layman's terms. We finished throughout these tests, you back it up with your research, but then you send out for publication. It gets peer reviewed, and if it's all checks out, you get your work published, which is fantastic. And then with all that research, what we're looking at is potential avenues for drug creation to treat certain ailments like diseases like depression and addiction would be two big ones to start. And one that we've touched on just a little bit is inflammation as it relates to cardiology. And we'll leave it at that. We don't want to get too much into that at the moment, but I can tell you that what we found in that particular arena is beyond exciting, because nobody else has really gone down that path. So in the addiction side, other people have gone down that path. It's interesting. In the depression side, many people have gone down that path. Now, let me just clarify that, though, when I say many people. I've always had, as you know, we've spoken about it before, it seems that every day there's a new psilocybin company coming on the CSE, getting listed and raising a bunch of money. I've always said, if these companies aren't touching psilocybin, well, they're probably not in the industry. They're probably just another, a hype company trying to get on the bandwagon. So, as an investor, you need to be careful. And, we actually do work with psilocybin. We actually touch it. We actually have a license to conduct this research. We've been doing it for 2 years. We actually buy it. You know what I mean? And so we're under that full regulation to be able to do all this stuff. And it's been amazing that we've been able to achieve all that. The rest of the companies, of course, the big guys, the Compass and guys like that, they, of course, are doing it as well. But the other guys, let's say there are 100 companies in the big stewing pot at the moment. The other 90 are not touching it. They're talking about touching it in the future, but I can assure you it's going to take them a long time before they're allowed to. Yeah. So anyway, with our research, we have, I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. It'll be public soon, and that's okay. We did publish our first results from early trials that we did in a test tube in a test tube environment, and that was one of 6 papers that we will be publishing. So that's the first one that's been published. We have 5 others that are in review at the moment. Now, the test tube one, if you're a scientist and you read it, you'd say, wow, that's pretty interesting stuff. We have 5 more that go out through another year and change, a year and say 3-4 months, that go all the way into animal studies that have taken that early research that people are now saying, wow, that's pretty interesting stuff. Well, now I can say that it's kind of, if you thought that was interesting, you're certainly going to see that what we've done since then in the last 14, 15 months is way more interesting than that, because we've built upon that early science. So we know what we have, obviously, because we have those results already. And we'll be publishing those as they are accepted and reviewed and accepted. We have a second one that has been accepted. That will be published soon. And when I say soon, usually a month or 2, something like that. the other 4 after that second one will be coming out thereafter. So it's really cool to know. It's almost like if you were drilling for gold and you'd done your drilling and you'd done your early surface stuff and found some early results that were interesting, but then you had done drilling for another 2 years and you're sitting on those results. That's the position we're in. We're sitting on a bunch of great science that will be made public shortly. So really, really interesting.
Awesome. No, exciting.
Well, actually, in addition to that, let me add this. So I was in Pretoria just a couple of weeks ago with the team and the university, and it was an amazing, 4 days up there. And I can tell you that our agreement with them, it's going to expand dramatically. And that paperwork is now being put in place by them and us. And it's going to become much more than where we stand today. And that's it. That's all I can say on it for the moment. But it is truly, it's been a dream of mine to get this all done, and it will be done shortly. And we will be announcing a lot of great stuff as to that.
Yeah, just to go in a tiny bit more detail, assuming that and hopefully we've got some new eyes watching these videos. Of course, as we look at some of these other massive groups where people are talking about psychedelics, mushrooms, you name it. Curious, can you wrap up just very quick, where kind of Wuhan is now for clinicals and what's the next step?
Sure. So I still hate when people call it Wuhan, but there's nothing we can do for now. However, that's about to change. So any week now, that will change. We won't be at Wuhan anymore. We'll be officially M2Bio. Can't wait for that. So where we are next, our next step is human trials. So what we do now is what are called the protocols. Those are being put in place as to what it is that we're going to be researching on humans. So unfortunately, I can't say any much more than that at the moment, but we will have a press release that will detail out what it is. I guess I can touch on one thing that's super important. Just like anything, when you're into drug discovery, the very first thing that you need to do is you really need to, you have to figure out what's called the dosing, keep it in layman's terms again. So you have to know what kind of dosing works and what doesn't. And what I can tell you is that there's a lot of correlation between dosing and as it relates to cardiology. So as it relates to heart, as it relates to things like blood pressure. And these things can be very, very dangerous for anyone that does ingest magic mushrooms. So I've always said it that you must, be on the side of caution when you're involved in this stuff. And we will have a lot more information related to that coming out soon.
Well, still extremely exciting, even though you can't go into much more detail. You guys the next step is human trials. And
it's human trials. And the next step is, there's human trials and I would guess that most likely connecting the dots, there's probably a patent in there somewhere.
Spicy. No, awesome. Well, I think that's great. Unless there's anything you wanted to add on top of that, I know other things to cover. Do we want to hop into Oregon and maybe chat about that a little bit? What that means? What
Sure.
are your views?
Yeah, and hopping into that it's a good question. So in fact, I had a guy in the U.S. this morning, say to me, "Wow, thumbs up, Oregon, psychedelics, decriminalizing." Listen, it's a very, very small step, a small step for mankind. It's a great little step. It's the right step, but for us in the industry, it really doesn't mean much. And I don't want people to think, "Oh my God, it's decriminalized. Now I can go get stoned on the weekend with my buddy, Jimmy, and go take a bunch of magic mushrooms." That's not what this is about. And as I just said very clearly, it is ingesting magic mushrooms, for instance, as it relates to blood pressure. If you have elevated blood pressure or something like that, it can be a very, very serious problem. So these are things that people need to know, not just the average guy, of course, but the medical community is going to need to know, dosing. Super, super important. And so as the Oregon thing, decriminalization, like you mentioned, that's cool. I guess what it does mean is that if you're caught with magic mushrooms, you won't go to jail for a long time or something like that, and that's fine. But it doesn't mean so much at the moment, much like decriminalization of marijuana. I mean, it takes a long time to get it to a place where it actually has much impact on the general person in society. It may help research move along a bit quicker. So that's a great thing. But generally speaking, to be quite honest, it doesn't mean much.
Yeah. No, interesting. Again, I think the one big positive I take out of it is there's more eyes, looking that way now. And, the domino effect is real. We'll see what else happens. But, for an investor standpoint, there's definitely more people looking at psychedelics, which, is only better for the industry, which is
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Absolutely. Completely concur with that. Absolutely, Jason.